Check it.
Welcome, fellow survivors. This is Kruxn, and today we are going over farming in 7 Days to Die Alpha 18. Now, this is Alpha 18.1, build 8, but the information here is likely to last all the way through the current alpha, as well as future updates to the game. Now, before you start farming in 7 Days to Die, you must be familiar with the crops that you can collect and farm in 7 Days to Die. This has some of your usuals, as well as one additional new crop introduced in Alpha 18. You have yucca, goldenrod, cotton, aloe vera, chrysanthemum, corn, blueberry, coffee, potato, pumpkin introduced in Alpha 18, hops, mushroom spores, and then you have some wild cards here like grass and super corn, which we'll get into more in a second. Now, as you can see, I have all of my crops planted in these farm plots. These farm plots are new to Alpha 18, and this is what you need to build in order to farm. You no longer need to find a hoe to till the earth and prepare the ground. You only need to build these farm plots. Now, these farm plots are needed for all your crops except for mushrooms, which we'll get into more in a little bit, as well as grass. The only use of grass is to allow you to replant grass that you might have harvested. You can also plant them inside and things like that, as long as you have dirt to plant them on. They do not need to be placed in a farm plot. Now, corn is also a new one. It's not really a useful crop. Super corn provides a really good food item, but is not the best food item when you're talking about cooking. And by time you're able to collect a lot of super corn, you're probably going to be late game and you really should be cooking better food items. But this is not going to go over cooking, just the farming aspects of Alpha 18. The farm plots can be built early game, but they do require some resources that might be difficult to get initially. To build a farm plot, you simply need 4 wood, 10 rotting flesh, 25 nitrate powder, and 100 clay soil. Wood is going to be your most easy resource to collect. You simply need to chop down trees. Super easy. One of the first items you get in the game is a stone axe that allows you to do this pretty efficiently. Clay is going to be the next easiest because you simply need to dig up the dirt. And as you can see here, any dirt in the game, it's going to give you clay pretty quickly. And all you need to start doing that is a stone shovel. Now, nitrate powder is the trickier one, but introduced in Alpha 18 is these really useful above ground boulders that are easy to spot. This one specifically is nitrate, and as you can see, I collected quite a bit of nitrate from this. Once you find one of these boulders, most likely once you dig down below it, you'll find a whole bunch of ore readily available to collect nitrate. Same with any other ore you're looking for in the game, like coal or iron. As long as you find the appropriate boulder above ground, chances are there's going to be a lot of ore below ground that you could build a mine, as long as you locate it. Now, rotting flesh is going to be the hardest resource to get early game for your farming plots. You want to find zombie dogs and harvest them. This is not always an easy task, especially early game. Now, you can find rotting flesh while looting, but you're going to find most of it from zombie dogs every time. But you don't even get a whole lot from each kill. So save all the rotting flesh you can in order to efficiently farm. Now here we have our buddy, our good boy, the dog that we love, Rufus. And he's going to help demonstrate exactly how to collect the rotting flesh and how much you'll get. Let's see if he'll come out for us. Come here, boy. Come here, Rufus. And then we're just going to harvest them with one of your harvesting tools. Now, as you can see, I have 1, 2, sometimes you get 3 out of a single dog. But in this case, I got only 2 rotting flesh. You got some other nice resources like your leathers and your bones. Definitely keep the bones for later as well. But I only got the 2 rotting flesh in addition to the 10 I already have for my first plot. Once you're ready to build your farm plot, you go ahead and craft it. And it's only going to take 20 seconds. Super easy. And then you go ahead and start placing your plots down. And they are already ready to go. No harvest, no tilling the earth, nothing like that. You just need to start planting. Now, in order to plant, you need to collect seeds. The best way to do this is finding seeds while you loot, because you're not going to be able to get the seeds right off the bat. Now, if you do have enough produce, so like my pumpkin here, you could go into recipes and you could go ahead and collect seeds from them. But chances are you're not going to be able to collect the seeds until you find the recipe to collect the seeds, or you get the perks needed. Now, the perks you're going to need are in Fortitude and Living Off the Land. And this gives you things like harvest 2 items from wild or planted crops. This allows you to harvest additional crops. And I'll show you that in a second. But the ones you're looking for in here are like Gardener, where you could start getting seeds from flower plants like goldenrod, chrysanthemum, aloe, and yucca. And then you have seeds from berries and vegetables. So that's going to be like your blueberries and your potatoes. And then you could also, Industrial Farmer is going to increase how much you harvest. And then your last one here is going to allow you to get mutated seeds, which is those super corn, which is not super valuable. But you don't need to get any of this, because from the start, you'll be able to harvest 1 from any planted crops. And you can find the recipe. So you don't need gardener or farmer or or botanist out there. You could find the seeds, or you could find the recipes to be able to collect the seeds. But in order to harvest efficiently, you will need some of these higher levels like Industrial Farmers, so you could harvest 3 items per crop. So those perks will allow you to harvest more. So as you can see, my corn plant here, all I have to do is hit it to harvest. You can see I collected at the bottom right 3 corn because I have the highest level perk for that, and it automatically goes down to a seedling and will grow back. If you don't have those perks, you're only going to collect 1 at a time, but it's going to grow back and you're going to have a yield. But it's going to take you a while to get a farm going that's going to produce enough food for you to eat. But once you have those seeds that you collect from the fruit and the harvest that you collected, either in the wild or from your farm, so either you have the seeds or you have to make the seeds yourself by taking the necessary amount of produce and crafting it into a seed, then you can start planting your farm. And all you have to do is start laying down your boxes. I'm going to go ahead and collect all my boxes here, and I just lay them down. And they are ready to go right after laying them. There's no need to till the earth or anything like that. You could just start planting in it. So I have some yucca seeds here, and I'm just going to go ahead and plant them. Now, if you change your mind on the location, don't stress. You could simply collect your seeds. As you can see, I'm collecting the seeds. Well, go back to my hand, collecting the seeds, so I could collect all the seeds that are in the ground, and then I could even pick up these boxes without damaging them and place them anywhere that I need them. You just dig them up with a shovel, preferably, and that's it. You're good to go. And it takes about, a day and a half to 2 days for your crops to grow or so. So it doesn't take too long. But like I said, if you're not collecting enough produce, it's going to take you a while to get all the seeds you need to get an established farm going. But once you get an established farm going, that's when you could really decide on how you want to construct your farm. One of my favorite ways is still to build underground. Now with Alpha 18, zombies could dig, so you do want to be a little careful when approaching this strategy. It's not the safest place to put your farm necessarily, because zombies can dig down. But it does allow you to put your farm in a very safe place, deep inside your base or underground. And it's really efficient for PvP and things like that. And it still works for PvE as well. But another change with Alpha 18 is you could no longer use a hatch as your light source when putting your farm underground or inside a building. So you do want to put your hatch off to the side or have an alternate entrance to your farm. But you could still use different blocks as a light source without having to fall, without falling into your farm. So in this case, I have a trussing that I place so that my farm way down at bedrock has a light source, but I could walk over it safely without falling in. So in this case, I used a hatch off to the side to get in. So I'm going to jump down, close the hatch. So the only light source is this right here going straight down the bedrock. Once down at bedrock, you could see I have a lush farm going, and if I pull out my yucca plant here, you can kind of see I could place it over these plants. So you can see all this is growable space, and the dead space here is not growable. If you recall from previous videos, the grow space is directly from the light source. So the top light source comes down, and you could grow that space an additional 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the same applies for going off to the side. So if this is your 7th spot here, that would be 8. Then this is 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. And so on, all the way around. So this is the maximum amount of grow space that a single light source from the ceiling will create. Obviously, this isn't a perfect square. It leaves all this dead space in the corners. But you could create any number of grow space within this. So you could create a perfect 7x7 among many other shapes. I'm going to hop up here really quick and show you a 7x7 farm with corn. And this would be your perfect 7x7 square, completely underground and growing. So it doesn't need, the light source does not need to hit the ground. It simply needs to come from the sky. So as long as you have a hole going all the way up to the sky, you're good to go. I'm going to jump back down here, and I'm going to show you mushrooms. We said we would come back to mushrooms. Mushrooms is one of your other plants that's a little bit unique. You do not need to grow them inside of a farm plot. Like you can see, all of this is a farm plot. You could grow them pretty much anywhere, and they don't need a light source. So as you see, we're in this tiny little room, no light source in here, but we have mushrooms growing. I do have my farm plots here, so you could grow them in a farm plot if you wanted to. And as you can see, no light in here, so I can't grow any yucca or anything like that. But you could grow mushrooms anywhere. You could grow them, on any flat surface, on the floor, on the walls, and on the ceiling. And you're going to be able to harvest them just like normal. They go back down to a seed, and you could harvest them again and again and again. So do not waste your farm plots for mushrooms. You could plant them anywhere. Put them, by your crafting stations, all over your base, anywhere. They don't need light, just a flat surface, and you could grow them. In addition to growing underground, you could also think about saving space and growing vertically, even above ground. In this case, I don't have any walls, so I don't need a single light source coming from the ceiling because the light is coming from the side. So light is coming down and going over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And as you can see, it's coming from all sides, so it sufficiently covers all parts of my farm. So there's no need to have a hole in my floor. If I enclose this space with walls, I would have a hole in the ceiling, and I would put something like a trussing or some other block that lets light through. But in this case, it's completely open, so I do not need something like that. But I went ahead and stacked my farm to save on space and provided this cool little, vertical farming example for all my needs. And you could decorate it any way you'd like. And like I said, all your light is coming from the sun. There's no artificial grow lights. But I went ahead and equipped mine with some, a little bit of lighting to make it look nice, especially for nighttime farming, which is a really good time to start harvesting is at night. We'll go ahead and check out how this looks at night. It's a pretty sweet farm, even at night, lights up. One of my favorite style of farm. You could do a whole number of variations to this, but this is a efficient little farm setup going straight up. Obviously, you want to be careful if you're using this as a makeshift tower for Horde Night, because your crops can get destroyed. So definitely protect it. But cool little farm. I would really love to see what you guys do. Different farming techniques is some of my favorite things to do in 7 Days Die. It's a very easy way to keep you alive. Don't have to worry about, keeping your, you're hunting up and things like that. So let me know what you think of this video. Let me know if you learned something. Hopefully this helps. Don't be afraid to dig underground, above ground, vertically, inside, outside, everywhere. And until next time, this is Kruxn. I'll catch you later.